How would you describe the power situation in our country?
Pretty bad.
ठीक नहीं है.
दुखदाई.
बहुत खराब है.
Pathetic.
कष्ट नहीं है तो प्रॉब्लम होती है.
बुरा हाल हो जाता है.
बहुत ज्यादा खराब है. I don't know what to say about it.
कई दिनों तक बिजली नहीं होती.
पिछले 17 सालों से खंभा लगा हुआ है, बिजली नहीं आई.
बिजली नहीं आती है तो पानी नहीं आता है.
You don't have electricity in the morning for so many hours.
सुबह नहाते धोते हैं तो उसमें लाइट चली जाती है.
ये आदमी इसी से परेशान. We run the generators basically for 20 hours a day.
बिजली की हालत तो बहुत खराब है.
India had an installed capacity of 1362 megawatts of power in 1947. 50 years later, it is 100,000 megawatts. We would have a power requirement of another 100,000 megawatts by 2012. Its generation, transmission and distribution requires 800,000 crore rupees. 80,000 villages still live in absolute darkness. At the present pace, it would take 26 years for UP, 70 years for Bengal, and over 700 years for Bihar for complete electrification. Over a century ago, when Michael Faraday brought the first spark of electricity into existence, little did he imagine that it would eventually become the spark of life itself. Modern-day living leans on electricity so much that its absence can bring life to a standstill. The consumption of power today by a country reflects upon its relative growth and prosperity. The United States uses 30 kilowatt-hour of power per capita every day. A promising nation like China uses 3 and India just 1. We are today faced with an erratic and unreliable supply of electricity. In spite of a growing demand and supply, the power sector in India contradicts with all the principles of economics. A power utility loses almost a rupee for every unit it supplies to its citizens. The quantum of theft of electricity in India is alarmingly high. The annual losses of the state electricity boards have reached a whopping rupees 26,000 crores every year. No wonder the sector is in the red. To put the losses into perspective, rupees 26,000 crore is half the amount spent by Indian states on education every year. It is twice the amount spent on health and thrice that spent on supplying water to its citizens. The Indian power sector is in need of a rapid and radical change. Power on demand is the vision of the Union Minister of Power, Mr. Suresh Prabhu. It is a roadmap to achieve a capacity addition program of 100,000 megawatts of electricity within the next 10 years. It is a blueprint of reforms that will make the sector commercially viable, transparent and vibrant to meet every demand from the country. An overhaul can only be achieved with the will and participation from the public and the polity. Only an informed public can ensure transparency and accountability, strike a balance between social concerns and commercial interests, and prevent the nation from slipping into the clutches of darkness. The minister began the crusade by sending out letters to the employees of CPSUs, state electricity boards, chief ministers of states, and the media seeking their involvement. Each of these was signed by him personally.
We still need to work more, and that area is in terms of how we can all have a necessary political will to implement some of these programs. Now, political will is not something which can be bought in the market. It's not a political will which can be shopped around. It is something which has to be generated and created, and that can happen in democracy only through public opinion. How do you create public opinion? How do you ensure public participation in this huge program that we have launched? And therefore, we realize that we must go to as close as possible to the people. We must involve people themselves into this whole process, and then this program, which is meant for their success, meant for their benefit, if it is meant to be benefiting them, and if they participate in this process of development, I am sure it's a definite insurance against any failure. And therefore, we decided that we must go to people and explain this program to them, also request them to participate in this program.
After much deliberation, the Ministry of Power launched 2,000 roadshows as part of a countrywide awareness movement with an objective of creating